Hey guys, welcome to the Retmod Gaming Podcast, episode 4. Today, we're going to talk about games, and games. Specifically, 3 that were shown off at this year's E3. And during our first episode podcast, we did an E3 review. We did kind of skipped over these games, and we're going to discuss them today. And we're going to start off with the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare that's coming out later this year. So again, joining me today is
Alex.
How you doing, mate? So yeah, we'll get right into it. Mate. What did you think of the trailer? Now we recapped today. We watched it together.
Just looked at the trailer.
The announcement trailer.
For Call of Duty.
Are you
excited?
I think
it looks incredible, mate.
It does look
as a non-Call of Duty player.
Yeah.
It looks incredible.
Yeah. Captain Price is back.
I know a trailer's very easy to get people hyped, but yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it looked...
I can't remember. I think Modern Warfare 2 was the last Call of Duty I played on the 360. I haven't touched them since.
Yeah, I mean, last year they released just a little bit of a checker. Last year they released Black Ops 4, which was a battle royale Call of Duty.
Just multiplayer, wasn't it?
Just multiplayer. And I don't know whether... I
was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he used to be a huge Call of Duty player. He bought every single one. And he hasn't played for a while, and I was saying to him about the Black Ops 4 not having a campaign, and he said, well, the first thing I'd like to do before I do any multiplayer is go through the campaign.
It's what I was saying to you again earlier on, that it's what I look forward. I'm not one of these Call of Duty haters. I actually always used to look forward to the Call of Duty campaign every year. 5 hours, 6 hours. It was still some of the best 5-6 hours campaign, first-person shooter campaigns out there to buy. And the gun mechanics were saying always solid and best the industry had at the time. So it was a strange one for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 to miss without it, but they were trying to get onto the old Fortnite, Apex Legends craze, Battle Royale craze that was going on. Loot box
craze, can we milk them for every skin penny they got?
Exactly, and they were getting a little bit cheap on us with that one, I think. So I can't talk to Call of Duty.
I think if they'd have done that as a free-to-play game, there wouldn't have been as much backlash on it. But to charge a full-price game...
Activision, as we discussed with EA last week on the previous week's podcast, Activision is not as bad as EA in that regard, but they're not. I
don't know, mate. They're up there.
They're up there, yeah. So, but anyway, going on to Modern Warfare, kind of like a soft reboot. Captain Price is back. Seems very similar to the first ever Modern Warfare game that did come out, and that excites me. New game engine as well, said on the announcement trailer. All in game. Well, we'll see if that is all in game when we come to play it. It does look great though, far more realistic than I was thinking when we did see it. But that's typical Call of Duty. The campaign's going to be over the top, bombastic. Michael Bay-esque explosions everywhere, over the top villain.
I mean, you don't. We've said this before. Call of Duty, yes, it can make you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it should make you feel uncomfortable.
And I think you're specifically talking about Modern Warfare 2, where the opening level was you as spoilers, and I think it was you were undercover in this Russian gang, or was it something else?
Yeah. And
you went through the airport and proceeded to, if you wanted to, I think there was an achievement at the time, if you didn't shoot anyone. And I remember playing that specific level, and actually not shooting anyone, not because I didn't want to, because I was triggered. You know what I'm like on games. I just do it because the games. You're not telling me I can't do it, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah,
it's part of the fun.
That's why it's a game.
And it's a game.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, come on, I just wanted to see what it's a bit like the Far Cry, when you found out Far Cry 4 in Tibet, where you just sat at the table and the game ended after 2 minutes, and you're like, oh, that's pretty interesting. So I did actually do that level without actually killing anyone, not for any morality reasons or anything like that, because I'm not like, I just thought, can you go through this section after hearing so many different people going, oh, this, especially the media going, oh, this is totally out of control, they shouldn't be doing this, it's pure shock value. And it seems like, with this game, we're going into that territory again, because IGN posted IGN, who are the world's biggest video game outlet, did post a 7-minute video shortly after E3 of their E3 impressions, and by the sounds of things, only the one person come out of that truly excited to play that game after. I think you give it game of the show, and a lot of them were saying, a lot of the guys over at IGN were like very uncomfortable. It was too realistic, and if that's what they're going for, then that's the artistic interpretation of what they're going for.
Interpretation of the developer, or what they're trying to bring.
We can't keep having this conversation of uncomfortability. This is not a PG era. There's going to be a rating on the game which is going to say, in the UK, 18 or above. In America or the US, it's going to be rated M for mature or rated R for whatever that is, restricted or whatever. Accept what it is. Move on. Judge the game. If it's done to a point where it feels forced, then I get it. That they're forcing you to do these things. But if it's part of the story... By the way, these are terrorists you are taking out in civilian buildings. So in reality, you shouldn't have any morality of taking out terrorists in a building full of terrorists. If I'm going to go in there, it's what the military are there to do, is take out terrorists. Whether you want to do that or not, that's your own personal preference. Me, I haven't got no problem taking out terrorists. So for me, it's going to be a level where I'm going to go, I can't wait. Again, going off a little bit, when I watched that preview of IGN's, it actually made me more excited to see what this extreme, visceral level's going to be in the game, and whether it keeps going.
As you know, we watched those videos before we came onto
this. As a recap, just to refresh ourselves with them,
I didn't find it that uncomfortable, to be honest with you.
The trailer was your typical run-of-the-mill Call of Duty trailer.
It's a bit of tension.
Yeah, it's always had that.
And it's good. And like I say, a game focused on what it's going to be focused on should make you feel a bit uncomfortable and a bit sort of, ooh.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we said this.
It's a game about war.
Yeah. And war's not pretty.
No, exactly.
And the men and women that fight for our countries, respectively, go through this.
Yeah.
Now, if you find that uncomfortable, I hate to say it, you don't have to buy it. It's not for you. But to give that message out to say, I'm uncomfortable, it's not right, and you shouldn't, they shouldn't be doing this, is completely wrong. If it's factual, and I mean in terms of how it's playing out, the scenario, if that is done through careful consideration of what the military would do in situations, we're talking about black ops, spec ops, we're talking about, undercover operations that you don't hear about. But if they have some sort of expert, which I presume they would have on the team creating these scenarios, military experts, that's what they go through. You've got no morality check there, because at the end of the day, that's only what's making you uncomfortable, not the other person sat next to you.
Yeah.
Again, there were several people in that IGN preview over E3, and again, only the one guy seemed to give it game of the show.
Game of the show.
The only one who said, if it's like that, it's my game of the show.
Yeah.
And the others were like, well, it could fall on their face, it could do this, and it made me uncomfortable. That's what they're going for. I'm going to bring it back to horror. Horror is designed to make you feel uncomfortable and give you situations in your life you're not going to get, or you don't want to relive in reality. No one wants a horror scenario in their own reality. That's why they play games and watch films, to feel a sense of that.
Well, it's the adrenaline, isn't it?
Adrenaline rush of being frightened and being locked away and being in an enclosed, claustrophobic civilian household hunting terrorists, or being hiding away in a crate or something from a horror monster. That's not what you're going to go through in your everyday life.
I don't see the difference between playing through a Call of Duty like that and mowing somebody down in Grand Theft Auto.
Well, Grand Theft Auto,
you know what I mean?
one moans about Grand Theft Auto.
No,
Every 4 or 5 years, a Grand Theft Auto comes out, and that game introduces racism, rape, whatever you want, and nothing is hardly said outside of the game. Nothing is hardly said within the gaming industry. Outside the gaming industry, it will get traction within the mainstream media.
And all it does is make people buy it.
And all it does is perceive. This is the same thing with politics. Shout loud enough, and you turn the people that are, that don't follow these things on a daily basis. They just go, "Oh, stuff you! You're trying to change my opinion on the way he thinks. I'm going to do the opposite."
Yeah.
And this is what they don't. This is what people do not learn. You shout long enough, and people will just do the opposite. They just generally do. Trump, Brexit.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing. And by the way, we vote and stuff like that. And But we've got our own senses and sensibilities when it comes to that. I like to think I make my own mind up. I'm never swayed on other people's opinions. I like to see things from my own eyes, the world through my own eyes, my own personal interactions with people out in the world. That's the way I look at things. I see it with my own eyes. And with a game like Call of Duty that's taking this perceived route from the behind closed doors demo, I think it's a good thing. I think that Call of Duty needs to get back to that modern warfare
I was
era.
saying to you earlier, when the first Call of Duty come out and people were moaning that it was too realistic.
Yeah. People...
Back when we were, what?
Yeah.
13?
Yeah.
14?
I mean, well, this is the thing. If this was 10 years ago, people were going, oh, I can't wait to do this with this, and the guns sound so realistic and all the rest of it, and the scenarios are so... This is incredible. And today, because we live in a social climate where everything you say is taken out of context and shortened into a little line on Twitter or a little sentence on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah. Everything is never in context. It's taken out. So when you say something, people only take what they want out of your first couple of... They don't read the rest of it, or they just want to hear you say those particular words. Yeah. And you're either in that camp or you're either in that camp. You're never your own person. Be your own person. Make your own mind up. Don't follow don't follow everyone else. Yeah. And this is what I should do with this game. I should buy it.
Just going off the trailer, it looks incredible. Like I said, I haven't played since Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, I played them all. That is a game I will be getting.
I played them all apart from Black Ops 4, and I said to you, didn't I, that I play them all the time, and I always enjoy the campaigns in Call of Duty. That's my personal preference. I'm not going to go onto a review site, which I rarely do anyway. I've bought games on my collection that got trashed.
You've bought some bad games, mate.
But I enjoy them. The anime games, for instance, some of them are trash, but I will sit there and pump 60 hours into games like Jump Force that hasn't got the best fighting mechanics, but the characters I grew up with. Yeah. Goku, Naruto, there's characters there that I have an affinity for, and I get more enjoyment because I know them. And it's the same with Call of Duty. Infinity Ward, Treyarch and Sledgehammer. There's 3 different types of Call of Duty creators.
I'm glad it's Infinity Ward. I'm glad it's them doing this.
And it's like, they always make the best ones. Yeah. And so I'm excited for this one. I really am. And I think that I don't think they're going to do shock value, because Call of Duty's always been shock value. Whether you want to admit that or not, they've always pushed the limit of what's acceptable in media. And it seems to me that games are the only ones subject to this sort of criticism within our own media. Films don't get this type of abuse and type of... No. I mean, you could take every horror film. I watched one the other day, there's The Human Centipede. Christ almighty. That's uncomfortable, mate. And I sat there and enjoyed it because I'm a horror fan. But if you sat that in front of someone who's not, they'd switch it off after 10 minutes. Yeah. And they probably wouldn't probably wouldn't eat for the rest of the day. It's that disturbing and disgusting. It's like I watched a film from Kevin Smith called Tusk about a journalist who goes to this guy's house. I don't really want to get too much into the film because I think you should watch it. It's a good film, Tusk. And perceives to turn him into a walrus. And it's a horror film, but it's really disturbing. The imagery is really disturbing.
Kevin Smith.
It's Kevin Smith. Are you a comedy guy?
Legend.
I don't know where he got that from.
Legend.
Again, going back to Call of Duty, I just think, calm yourself down. I think if Infinity Ward and Activision would do themselves a favour after that video, but I think they like the publicity. It's free publicity. It's free good publicity, isn't it? Yeah. Come out with a 10-minute, 12-minute video of that particular scenario that was shown. I don't think they will. They'll focus on the multiplayer up to release because that's their biggest win, is the multiplayer, always has been. Call of Duty, esports and all that line. Yeah. But yeah, I think they should release the 12-minute behind the scenes.
Do you know, as you know, I'm not a huge multiplayer kind of guy, but I will probably have a crack on that. Well,
yeah.
It looks entertaining.
Yeah, well, as we were saying, there's plenty of. We'll probably go into Twitch at some point in the near future, and we will stream quite a lot of games. And I will stream a lot more multiplayer games because they're probably more entertaining than the sitting through a single player game. Yeah. And to be fair, I'd rather do the multiplayer games as the single player games. I'd rather people experience those for themselves. The idea of watching someone play a game that you could potentially have fun playing yourselves, that a company has spent a lot of time creating. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, there's no way I could have sat and watched somebody else play God of War. or The Witcher. You know, I wouldn't get the same sense of when the revelations happen within the world and the game. You don't get that, even if you then go, "Oh, I'm going to play it now." You know what happens.
You already know.
It's not. It's not a surprise. The twists, the turns, the feelings. Call of Duty's fine. It's going to be a Michael Bay-esque, over the top action adventure romp, and well, it seems like it might go more serious tone. I think there's a couple of developers from Naughty Dog working on this, so I think I'm right on that. So yeah. And who created The Last of Us. So at the end of the day, the story should be really good, if anything. Some of the writers are from Naughty Dog are over there now working on Call of Duty, so I'm really excited to see what they come up with.
I don't think they've ever had a problem with the story, to be honest, in Call of Duty.
No.
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2, the story's in them.
Modern Warfare still holds up today.
Yeah,
really good game. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, Call of Duty, really excited. Engine looks fantastic. It was only an announcement trailer, so we didn't get to see much, and they always do look good. The behind closed doors previews, obviously, IGN did that piece. Go and watch it on their channel if you want to watch it yourselves. I know the like to dislike ratio on that particular video is comical to say the least. I mean, come on, they're just doing their job, guys. And it's opinions at the end of the day. You might not like what some people have to say, but it is what it is. They obviously knew it was going to go down there because the guy who introduces the video here at IGN, we have different opinions and all the rest of it. So they'd obviously knew that perhaps they were setting themselves up for the Call of Duty fan backlash in a way. But other than that, I'm excited for it. I'm excited that it's going back to a campaign. I'm excited that it's going to the Modern Warfare era with Captain Price and those guys again. And yeah, I think it's coming out October or November this year, I believe.
I think it's October, isn't it?
Yeah, so we'll pick it up. Definitely going to play that. Might stream it, don't know yet. We're still trying to iron out a few kinks within the room and maybe even reorganise the room better in the next couple of weeks before we actually do some more, get the live streaming setup done. So that's Call of Duty, unless you got anything else to add to that, matey?
No, just hype for it.
Hype, yeah.
Make your own mind up.
Make your own mind up. The announcement trailer's up. Check it out and see what you guys think.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So the next game, which we forgot to talk about. We didn't forget.
We didn't even mention it on the E3, did we?
Yeah, I mean, and it was a big announcement.
It was a big announcement.
Last year's E3 in 2018, I remember watching, I think, the announcement trailer at Microsoft's 2018 E3 announcement was Halo Infinite with their new in-game engine, which showed more of the world, showed more creatures, and it's a game I really am excited about. We were saying today about the music. The music in Halo.
They always get the music right, don't they?
The music in Halo. Again, we did a refresher before we come on to talk about this today while watching the 2019 announcement of Halo Infinite, and they nail that atmosphere. They nail the music. Yeah. Coming off of Halo 5, disappointed in Halo 5. Recently played through it again. 4 hours and 24 minutes it took me total to go through it on normal. I have played it on the hardest difficulty, and the thing is with hardest difficulty on first-person shooter, you're just not as bullet spongy as you want. It just doesn't add much to the gameplay at all. No. It's just in fact,
ups the AI slightly, doesn't it?
Not even really that. You just end up hiding behind rocks more than you really care to, or cover. Really, in all retrospect, I mean, that's what I always kind of have an argument with this about first-person shooter difficulty. I always play them all on normal. I don't feel the need to go any higher than that. They're a one and done for me, first-person shooter campaigns, but they have to be, again, going back to Call of Duty, this over the top. But I've got a feeling Halo Infinite might go down a different route. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, well, when we watched that 2018
E3 announcement,
that video there, and we both said at the same time, didn't we? Is this going to be open world?
Is this open world? Because the way they pan back off the Jeep sequence.
Yeah.
And again, I remember watching that live, but completely forgot that sequence.
They're setting it all up, though, as well, when they show the
creatures.
The creature, was it like a rhino type
like
creature,
a prehistoric rhino, really, yeah.
A whole herd of them trundling along.
Yeah.
And it pans out and you see all that, and it just looks like they are setting up an open world game.
Because, I mean, Halo, I've recently gone back and played Halo 2 on the Xbox One X with the collection. And you forget the expansive areas they did have in Halo. They were big open areas that you fought the Covenant in. You know, they weren't small areas, so they could still have those particular creatures, but it didn't make sense if you're just going to have a pocket of creatures on this little tiny area to engage enemies in. I actually think this is going to be an open world, maybe linear open world, but really big area, like a big sandbox for you to... Mate, do you know what? I'm going to use this as an example. I know it sounds crazy, but the Kamurocho and Yakuza, it's a big, small, open world with all these different areas branched off.
Little bits.
Pocketed
dotted.
Within the city.
Yeah.
And I feel like Halo could do the same, where you're in this one big area, on this one ring, where you just get sent to these different pockets of areas. But in the centre part of the world is your big open world sandbox area. And I think that would make perfect sense for this particular game, because Halo Infinite going open world would be stellar. It really would, because you know the multiplayer is going to be fantastic. It always is.
It's going to be huge.
You know, that's going to be a big hit. I think the multiplayer in Halo 5 is underrated I think it's one of the best. I actually like the fact that they went a little bit more Call of Duty-esque control with Halo on that. I still think, why not copy the best in the business? Call of Duty, for me, is still the best control scheme for a first-person shooter by a mile. I don't think anything comes close. I think Titanfall 2, it was similar because it was the same guys.
I really need to play that.
Call of Duty.
Still not played it.
Halo Infinite, we got Master Chief back. Right at the end of the trailer, it looks like we're getting Cortana back, which is exciting. And graphically, we refreshed ourselves with the 2019 trailer from the Microsoft Expo at this year's E3.
Definite improvement.
That was running supposedly on Scarlet, hopefully. I do believe it's coming to PC and Xbox One.
I'd imagine, given the way they're doing it now with the Game Pass for PC and console, I'd imagine it'll launch on both.
Yeah,
because they seem to be pushing more of a wider platform than just saying here's our console.
Yeah, well, Microsoft's veering themselves into services a lot more, which is a good thing for them, I think, because I think the studio...
Well, they're a software company, aren't they? Let's be honest.
And
that's where they made their bread and butter.
Exactly, and I think that for them, with the new studio acquisitions, which is really exciting, really pumped to get more first-party experiences out of Microsoft, because the first-party studios for all the manufacturers out there, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, are important, but the big sellers throughout the year are mainly the multi-plats. In reality, let's be real, Sony, with the exclusion, they had some massive hitters this year in terms of, over the years in Horizon, Spider-Man, God of War. They're going to have one with Death Stranding and The Last of Us 2 when that comes out. I don't know how Days Gone did, but...
I think it's done quite well.
Didn't it?
I know it wasn't critically
so Sony
well
at the
received,
moment, this generation, are the exception for that. And Nintendo always sell a bucket load of Mario and Zelda. It's the flagship titles for that particular machine, And so for Microsoft, I think it's important for them to get this flagship series back on track. Halo, for me, is the pinnacle Microsoft experience. It's the one I love the most. That and Gears. I know you prefer the Forza Horizon or Forza series for you.
Yeah, I love Forza. I love it.
Yeah, that's one. So for me, Halo as a launch title for Xbox Scarlet, it's just a must-buy for me. And if they do go the more open world with this one, I cannot wait. Because if that was just a taste of things to come, I was intrigued. I generally was.
It is, like, when we said, like, is this going to be open world? And it just opens your eyes. You watch that video back again, that 2018 one. And the way they like you said, they're setting up the cameras.
Yeah.
It really does feel like it's going to be an open world game.
And it looks graphically really impressive as well. And it's just about the right realism as well. Because I've said this to you before, games don't have to be this ultra realistic. I think Sony go that way because that's what they're known for.
Borderlands, they do it perfectly.
But look at Borderlands. But hey, I'm not saying Halo's not ultra realistic, because that new trailer from this year's E3 was realistic.
Stunning.
It looked crisp. It looked gorgeous.
Alien-esque.
To a certain degree, yeah.
Alien-esque.
Yeah, and obviously if that's what the Scarlet's going to be capable of, and it'll be better than that, obviously, when they get used to the system, when developers down the line make another Halo for it in the future, we'll have an even better looking Halo experience. But again, and that was a curious thing, the announcement trailer ran in 60 FPS, whereas the 2019 trailer was 30.
Oh, right.
So I'm just a little bit curious, have they now gone more visual fidelity, and it's going to be a 30 FPS experience, open world experience, but in third person. Now that would really blow my mind if Halo went third person.
I've never understood the whole frames per second war. If it looks great at 30 and plays well, I
No,
get
I get
that
it.
60 is. I know
60
it looks
for
a lot
first-person
better. I know.
shooters is the pinnacle. You have to, really.
I don't know.
That's why Call of Duty feels so good at 60. Fighting games feel so good at 60 because the frame delay is perfect.
Should you
shooters.
sacrifice
Visual fidelity?
frames per second to bring up the visuals, or should you
No.
bring the visuals down
Visuals down
to
for
get
gameplay.
60 frames per second?
Always the other way. Visuals down for gameplay for me because I can't imagine playing Mortal Kombat 11, for instance, at 30 frames per second. It feels so good at 60.
Yeah.
And those are the two genres that have to be 60 frames per second. First-person shooters, specifically first-person shooters, and fighting games. And in case of Halo Infinite...
If that's the magic number,
Yep.
Why are they trying to push higher resolutions?
For the next machines.
Try and get that 60 frames per second first.
Yeah, I think...
Get the most from that, then push.
Yeah, I think that the next group of machines, the Scarlet, the PlayStation 5 and whatever Nintendo's cooking up in the background, and obviously Google Stadia, you can't ignore those. As though we're not interested, Google Stadia is a player now. How much it'll sell, I don't know. But for me, Halo...
We're in a subscription society now, mate. So
everything's subscription.
It could do really well. It could completely bomb, or it could do really well.
Yeah, I think Microsoft is banking on the Netflix X subscription with the
Well,
power
I've
of
raved about Game
X-Cloud.
Pass, mate. I love the Game Pass.
I think it's a brilliant. I honestly think Sony
I've
are
got the
missing out.
Ultimate now.
I think Sony. I've said before, I'm a Sony fan, but I would put their games on other systems.
Yeah.
Why would you not have more sales?
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. Just have some sort of an exclusive. I don't know.
I've never understood this whole fanboy console war thing. Anyway, I know it was like when we were kids, Nintendo versus Sega.
Well, it's not that. It's when when you're football fans, soccer fans, for our American fans, you support your team when they play on a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon. You're a rival for me. But that's as far as it went. The next day, you had a laugh about your team winning or whatever, and then you got on with it. Unless it was a local derby like Wolves versus West Brom or Arsenal versus Tottenham or Celtic versus Rangers, then it went on for the rest of the week, the banter. But for some reason, games bring out a different breed of fanboys to me, and it's not healthy. But if you want to go that way, that's fair enough. That's your prerogative. I get it. I understand brand loyalty. I've got my favourite pumps. I love, I've got my favourite console. It's always been Sony since I was 12. So I mean, it's like, but I don't disparage the other manufacturers. No. I wish I had what Microsoft had on that platform, so I end up buying them both. When I have the money, now I'm older, I can get both because I'm old enough and can afford both. And so it's like, but when I was young, I had to pick one. And I'm going to pick the console that I've played forever. And it's the same for fans. Some people can't get both consoles. So for me, this thing with Halo being on potentially multiple systems this time around, because they haven't openly said no to Sony, but they want something back from Sony. And I think Sony would be fools not to take advantage of that.
I think so. And I think cross-platform's got to happen as well with the play.
Definitely, I think developers want that, and I think players want that. There's nothing stopping that.
It's crazy, isn't it? Really, now.
Actually, you're going to get some really cool banter on multiplayer, like Mickey taking, because you'll have Xbox fans, you'll have PlayStation fans, you'll have a few Nintendo fans when they can actually.
But you can't have free speech on Xbox Live anymore, can you?
Can't you?
No, you get.
Are they censoring that?
Yeah.
No.
It's all coming through, mate.
You are joking. Honestly? Yeah. Oh, I haven't read that.
Yeah.
When was that announced?
Guys, a while back now.
Oh my God!
It's a while back now.
I mean, I don't mind it because
I'll have a look.
At the end of the day, a lot of the time it's either racist arguing or little 10-year-olds giving you jip, which is funny. I got to say, it is funny. But Halo Infinite, they really do need to get back to that being their flagship title. Do you know what I mean? Like their proper. Unero numero uno. This is going to sell 10 million copies, and it's going to be, return to form, and it's going to be good for 343 as well to get a big major Halo hit after from taking over from, because I think there is still that stigma of a lot of Halo fans that say that 343 are just not up to the task of creating another quality Halo experience, which I kind of disagree.
Yeah,
because I think their experiences. I enjoyed Halo 4 Reach. I didn't enjoy Halo 5 as much, but they've not been bad experiences. So if they can just, get a winner with this one. And I think they will, because it'll be a launch game, which is always helps. Having a Halo title as your launch game would be a phenomenal get for Microsoft when it launches next year in the fall. So, did you find out about that?
I've just got it here. Yeah.
Go on,
So it basically, it's not so much as a ban. It's anyone who breaches their community standards. Where is it?
Go on.
Anyone who violates Xbox community standards may have restrictions placed on their profile and devices.
Yeah.
Which includes restricting online games, blocking text messages, and communications over voice.
Okay, well, they shouldn't censor words. I'll tell you how this should work. To keep it a freedom of speech and expression within the online multiplayer chat system that they have in place, what they should do is, and this is the problem, because people will abuse it just to get people banned. But you know what? They have records of the conversations. So at the end of the day, what they can do is, if a certain person is being rowdy and too much racism and too much language or whatever your preferences are, you can always report that guy once. You can't keep spamming reporting. And obviously it's sent up to Microsoft to do their due diligence and investigate that particular person.
Well, this is it. You get
because
reported enough, you're going to get,
Yeah, because I had it when I played Xbox on the original one. I used to go play Ghost Recon. The language and the racism on that was not unbearable, because I don't get affected at the end of the day. You should get affected by it. But it's like, it puts you off playing.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to play with these idiots anymore. And that, in a way, you're like, oh, you should be... No, I don't want to listen to that. When I come home from work, I don't want that in my ear hole for the next 2 hours while I'm playing one of the games I like playing. I understand that you're on a voice chat and you got to... But, there's no... If it's going down that route, I used to just click out the game, find another one. That was me personally.
Yeah.
But if they introduce like a report button where you can only click it once on that particular person, and then you wrote it, similar to how an MMO does it.
Well, this is it, like with World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
isn't it? You report that person, you can block them, you'll never see them again. And
if it was spammed in the chat, racism or bad language or like horrific language or anything like that was totally out of order, unnecessary to the game and experience, you just clicked ignore, which I did most of the time. But then I got used to reporting them, because at the end of the day, if you're going to make everyone's experience bad for the benefit of your own entertainment, because you're a quote-unquote dick about it, then I'm going to report you. Then it's up to Blizzard to, or whichever company are running those servers, Microsoft, Sony, whoever wants to do it. So I'm kind of in favour, but I don't want to lose that freedom of expression for the sake of an argument over a game.
This is it. And like you say, coming back to the football conversation, people can get very passionate while playing a game as well.
It's one-on-one. I used to get like this when I used to play Gears of War, the first one. And admittedly, I was a very good player on that one. And it used to, most of the time, come down to me and two others on the other side. And when it was one-on-one, there was that sense of concentrate, focus. And if you got killed, you let your team down. You used to vent your frustrations in bad language. Well, I used to do it. I still do it now. I still get angry when I do something wrong in a game, because I haven't got I haven't got the reactions anymore, being almost 30, 40. So, at the end of the day,
thumbs don't move as quick now, do they?
So I get frustrated with my own limitations now, as it were. But if Microsoft are just singling out words straight away and then giving out...
I think it's a certain combination, so they do have some descriptions as to what they will pull up.
For me,
I've closed
that's
the
not a good
article
system
now,
they want to go down. For me, they need to leave it up to the people to do their due diligence and report these people online. That's how you get things done. That's a fair way of doing it, not just putting the ban hammer on people because they've said certain words. Because, again, context.
But this is the thing with
context.
The Xbox.
Yeah.
They can ban your console.
Yeah.
And if your Xbox One gets banned, you can't play the thing because it's got to be online.
Well, then you have to start a new account, but you lose all your achievements, you lose all your DLC.
But that console...
Right.
That IP address on that console, gone. It's a paperweight.
Yeah. So I haven't got a problem with them monitoring their gameplay sessions, but in a way that's fair and it's in context of each situation. If someone's going to get banned, they've got to do something pretty horrific, and it's got to be on a regular basis.
Yeah. You
can't permaban someone for one offence. Third offence, you're out. That's how I would do it.
3 strikes, yeah.
3 strikes, you're out, that type of system. And, but Halo, we're definitely really excited about that, Halo Infinite. I'm really curious about that. Graphically, stellar. Great, amazing get for Microsoft as being a launch title, which is, again, We'll talk about Sony next week. We've got some games we want to talk about next week's podcast for Sony. But again, they need to come out with on a launch system. Their games need to be. They need to have one of those stellar games like Microsoft are putting out with the Scarlet in terms of Halo Infinite. And I think that's a huge plus. And I think it's going to sell a bucket load because it's Halo.
Oh, I don't know with Game Pass, mate. I don't know.
I
still think it's going to do well. Don't get me wrong. I think
it's going to do really well. Yeah. Depends because Game Pass games will only be on the service for a limited time, so you're going to need to buy the game.
Not the originals. The Xbox exclusives are on there permanently.
Are they on there permanently?
Yeah.
Because I went and bought Crackdown in the end. Yeah, I went and bought that. I like to support it.
It's on there.
I know, but I like to support. I will do that though. I will buy the game.
I'm sure the campaign as well was only a 10 gigabyte download.
14.
Yeah.
Because when you put the disc in, the disc doesn't even run. It comes up with two separate downloads, the campaign and multiplayer. And I'm like, have I just paid for nothing here? Really? Because I just wanted to. I love having the box disc. You know what I'm like.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll do the same with Halo Infinite and things like that. I have to have the box. It has to go on the shelf. Simple as. I need to look at it.
I'll look at mine next gen when all the gen we're at now comes down in price to £5
Well, that's
a
the
game.
bonus, isn't it? Next gen's always great because you can go back on the next games on Amazon and at Game and just go and buy 3 or 4 games for like £20.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Before they go up in price in 20 years.
Yeah.
But that's Halo Infinite. Very, very excited about that. Can't wait. And the last one, I'm going to let you introduce the last one because you wanted to talk about this.
The Outer Worlds.
Carry on, mate. What do you think?
It looks beautiful, mate.
Obsidian.
Looks a great game.
Yeah.
First-person shooter again.
Well, first-person shooter action RPG.
Yeah. I love the system they've got where you can target somebody and decide whether you want to cripple them, blind them, headshot them.
Yeah, looks really good.
We're talking.
It's
a game I've been excited about for a while because it's from. I believe
it's Obsidian.
I believe it's the guys that worked on Las Vegas.
Yeah, Fallout New Vegas.
New Vegas, sorry.
And more importantly, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, the Sith Lords.
The Sith Lords, number 2.
And so we're talking about Obsidian, which Microsoft acquired this year, or was it last year, I believe? Could have been last year's E3.
I think it was the end of last year, wasn't
Surprisingly, again, it's coming to Sony, which does make me wonder with Microsoft next gen whether they are going to allow these companies they purchased to continue to put their games
why not?
On the other platforms.
Because
again, Sony should do the same.
What have you got near enough 100 million PS4s out there now, enough?
It's money. Are you a business or not?
Exactly that.
Take your fanboy glasses off. I know you got to sell consoles. You are going to sell consoles because there are experiences that are only going to be on PlayStation.
I'll tell you what,
anyway. Same as Microsoft.
I wish as well they'd get rid of this whole peripheral lock. Let me use a 360 controller on my PS4.
I think they're doing that with Scarlet.
Or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
I think they are doing that with Scarlet.
I absolutely adore the 360 controller. It just feels so good in my hands.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about the Outer Worlds for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. And again, we did a little refresher last night and this morning to make sure we knew what we were talking about because we completely flew under our radar at E3. We saw it, we watched it on Microsoft stage again, and we were like, this looks incredible. And you could definitely see the DNA with the companions from Knights of the Old Republic, Sith Lords. Companions are back. Much more engaged by the looks of things, looking at the gameplay combat we saw today. Yeah, that
one little bit worried me on the slowdown. When it slows down and pans to the companion when they do a special. Shot. That could take you out the game if they keep doing that. If you can
disable that, definitely, mate. I agree with you there. But again, the worlds, the developer discussed that there's going to be several worlds, 2 massive worlds.
2 planets, wasn't it? And then you've got asteroids and space stations within that you can go to.
Yeah, because you play as smuggler.
You've got one planet that was fully terraformed,
so it's
where all the corporations are, and the other one that failed, where all the monsters are huge and whatnot. Yeah. It looks really good.
Yeah, I love it. It kind of. I actually watched the Terra 1, I think. Terra 2. Terra 2 was the planet that was properly terraformed.
Proper done.
I think it was that one.
Yeah.
And I remember watching a video. I think it was about 2 months ago, where the character was walking around the city. It was very BioShock-esque. You could see there's so many influences in this game. It looks gorgeous for one.
Well, this is what I said. That planet from the gameplay trailer looked very, very much like a planet that I've been on No Man's Sky.
Yeah. I remember
all the mushrooms
that.
in the sky. It's really cool.
And obviously it's going to be it's going to be an Obsidian game, so you're going to have all these different choices with the dialect, and it's going to have a lot of dark humour in it because Fallout New Vegas did, and it's going to be hopefully an interesting story. I think you play a smuggler, so that's the idea of you travelling from locations
I think the story goes you were on your way to the planet that was being terraformed, and something happened, and you're 70 years into the future of that.
Right, gotcha. Oh, and that's how he's able to slow things down.
Yeah, because of the way he was woken up.
Got you, okay. I must have missed that bit then. But yeah, I mean, graphically it looks fantastic. People are hailing it as the Fallout they should have had rather than Fallout 4. Again, I'm a Bethesda fan. I know they had a bit of a sucky E3 this year, but screwed up a little bit. But it's one game. I'm not gonna excuse the last 20 years of brilliant experiences they give us because of one particular game.
Every game they've ever released has glitched and whatnot. But,
I enjoyed Fallout 4.
Hopefully they've learned.
So, yeah, Fallout 4 for me was a great experience. Didn't like the building side of it. Thought that was awful. Did not like that. Some parts of the missions where they made you build things and the settlements and stuff, and I hated it. Fallout for me was a game where I really don't care the story. It's me in a big sandbox world doing what the hell I want, building a character the way I want, interacting with the world the way I want. Now, the settlement situations within Fallout 4 doesn't look to be in the Outer Worlds, so they are going more linear, more story focused with the Outer Worlds, because this is the team that give us New Vegas, so you can compare.
Yeah.
Straight away, we both said it.
The guy even said, "This is your spiritual successor."
Yeah.
So it's just one of those. It is a wait and see sort of, but from what I've seen,
it's not wait and see for me. It's a game where I think if you streamed it, I think it would be quite comical to watch, to be honest, because some of the situations, like when the gun reticle flies over moves over his leg and it says cripple, and it's something like that just makes you laugh a little bit. You shouldn't, but that's the sadistic side of like my humour is like, yeah, okay. So I'm like, yeah, this is good. This is my sort of game, an RPG where I can sink hundreds of hours in and create my own character. Again, the companions, I hope they're interesting. Or as interesting as Obsidian have made in the past with their other previous games. And I hope the story is good enough to keep you satisfied, to keep you interested within the world itself.
That's the key, isn't it? It's keeping you in there.
With Skyrim, going off a little bit to Bethesda, with Skyrim, I've never been interested in their stories, ever. I just play them because they're my stories. I like to build my own character. I very, very rarely stick to the critical path in any of them games. I just go off and discover it. One thing I love about in Skyrim and Fallout 4, for instance, on this particular generation, is that when you walk, like in Fallout 4, when you walk into an area, Covega factory, flash up and you go, oh, shall I go in there? Am I high enough level? Am I going to get my butt kicked in here? It's just the sense of exploration.
Yeah.
Don't tell me where to go. I'll discover where I go. And it's the one thing I didn't play it all the way through, but I tried to do with The Witcher 3. Which was turn off all the interface, and you can do it.
Yeah.
In The Witcher 3, and I was left with just the little red. Remember the little red compass?
Yeah.
Which just tells you northeast, makes you read the quest. Do you remember old school MMOs where you had to read?
Well, World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft one where you read. You'll find them located in the northeastern side of the Barrens next to a waterfall, and you were like, okay, so I know where northeastern is. I'm just going to head there.
Yeah.
But during that experience, you discovered other buildings and a group of mobsters, and you got sort of like, oh. And you made you think in the world itself. The world reacted to your presence in terms of, oh, should I be going in a direct line, or do they want me to go northeast directly? But can I go east, then north, then a bit south? Can I to get yourself to that particular position? That's how I want to go back to playing RPGs in reality, is let me figure it out. Don't give me this big wavy arrow. And I did try it with The Witcher, but I mean, with The Witcher, with it being so big, the particular quest descriptions were not helpful.
No.
A lot of it, because I'd completed it several times, I knew it off.
You already knew it.
I knew it off by heart. I looked at the map and put my little green marker, and you knew where. You just kept going. Oh, I just kept flicking the map on and off instead of looking at the map on the screen because I turned it off on the interface. I just used the big map. And I kept finding myself doing that. And I was like, well, it's taking me out of the game now. That's not real immersion. Whereas the corner map keeps you in the game. So there's that flip side to playing a free interface, free-looking interface on a game.
Do you know what I'd like to see?
What's that, mate?
So if you imagine a game, your quest givers are always a very obvious person.
Obviously, it's always got a yellow apostrophe above the red.
Well, imagine walking into a town and there's none of that, and you have to go and talk to the people.
Mate.
And get your quests that way.
Do you want to design an RPG with it? But that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Where you just, like, Skyrim did a bit of this, and I hope Outer Worlds does it as well, where you walk past the character, and they just start, did you hear about the dragon attacking the town the other day, northeast of here? And you were like, oh. And then all of a sudden, the camera would just zoom on that character, and you were in the conversation. And you picked up a quest without even realising there was a quest there. Yeah. The first quest you pick up, like the cattle was getting killed in the fields in the first area of Skyrim. When you walk down the hill and you go into that little town area, the cattle's being murdered, and you wanted to find out what's going on. But you'll never get that quest unless you stay in that particular area, and this guy walks over to you and you go, "Hey, something's going on here. Can you help us figure out what's going on?" And there's like a barrows marker where you can go to the barrows and find another quest. Yeah. And you're like, "Oh my god, that's an RPG," and I hope the Outer Worlds is more of that. I don't think it is, judging by from what we've watched.
No,
I think it is more streamlined and more linear. Yeah. But I think we're going to talk about Elder Scrolls 6 at some point where there's a lot more information, because it's something that me and you are highly anticipated for. Not just Elder Scrolls 6, but their other one, what was it? Starfield?
Starfield, was it? Or
the sci-fi game they got coming.
There's not much about that either at the moment.
I think Outer Worlds have done well to get this out before that.
Yeah.
Because this is sci-fi, and I think this is like... this is not a spiritual successor to Fallout New Vegas. Fallout New Vegas was still grounded in that apocalyptic world. This Outer Worlds is sci-fi. This is pure sci-fi, Art Nouveau, sci-fi-esque world. It's not a downtrodden world. There's some beautiful locations. That planet we saw on the video, it's a beautiful looking planet. The creatures are colourful. Everything's colourful. This is not a spiritual... the team's a spiritual successor working on it to Fallout New Vegas, but the game itself is totally different in terms of visual identification. So, again, I mean, if they can nail the quest inside of it, which is the most important, the side quest. Now, we did see the side quests, and they were your run-of-the-mill, slay Clive over here in this particular area, kill a few monsters. Probably there's going to be some collection quests, but if you made these quests more spontaneous, like, what was that MMO, Al, that we used to play, where you used to just walk into the area and the quest used to open up, like, really just naturally.
Rift?
Was it Rift?
Was it Rift?
Where they used to just you just walk into an area and all of a sudden, bang, 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 there's 3 or 4 quests that come up in your quest line, and they just you quested in that particular area until you'd done, and it felt more
I've played
involved.
That many MMOs. Yeah, I think it was Rift.
It's either Rift or something. Oh, Guild Wars 2. Guild Wars 2, where it was, you felt like there was no quest givers, but you felt the problem with that system was you felt like you were grinding too much, and you didn't get a sense. You were
taken out of it as well.
And you didn't get a sense of your own accomplishments, because there was groups of people just killing the mobs before you had a chance to do anything, and you were like, nah, that's not... So you've got to find that right balance of spontaneous quest giving and the old system of, here's your quest guy with the apostrophe. Because I have no doubt you're still going to get notice boards within this game. You're going to get those type of characters. But I think going forward, I'd love RPGs to maybe go more... go less holdy-handy.
Yeah.
And let people think with their brains a little bit. Let's not be scared of asking a person.
Give us a notebook.
Give us something. Oh, no. No. I'm just playing that now. Oh, my God. The only thing that's good about the notebook is the music comes on when you open it up. That's the only thing good about that system. I spent 40 minutes the other day, and in the end I went online. I know I've completed it before. Looking for... It was find the driver of this black vehicle. I was like, okay. There's 40 houses to check in Shenmue. Yeah. Through the 3 different streets. They didn't even tell you which house to look at. Logically, I just started looking at the houses that were in view of the car. No, the house that you needed to speak to couldn't have seen this car even go past. So how the hell does that make sense? Dumb. So yeah, I'm just going through Shenmue.
Kept you playing though, didn't it?
I love that game though. I just can't wait to drive forklifts. Forklifts are amazing in that game. But yeah, I mean, Outer Worlds. Again, we didn't discuss that last week, and I don't know why. We were really excited about that on the E3 review video that we did podcast. So I'm glad we brought that up today. Really excited. Again, everything they're saying is ticking our boxes. It should do yours if you're a fan of Fallout, you're a fan of Sky, those type of games. And hopefully they can nail it for those that didn't like.
I hope so for the developer as well, to be honest.
Well, they got the backing of Microsoft now, so they ain't going nowhere.
That's what I mean. But it's always good. If they get a hit, they'll get more money pumped into them.
Well, again, I think they did mention the DLC is going to include worlds. And obviously, if you look at Fallout New Vegas' DLC, and the DLC in general from Obsidian Games has always been top-notch. It's always healthy. It's always a good meat of something new. So, I think that Outer Worlds, fantastic. Really good game. Really good-looking game. And, excited to play that one. I don't know if is that coming this year, or is it a 2020 release? I'm not sure about that one.
I'm not sure.
I did know this. I had this wrote down when we did the E3 because it was one of the games we were supposed to talk about. We just looked at the time on the clock and went, "Ooh, hour 20 minutes." So we better cut this short a little bit. But really excited for that one. Can't wait. And I think that's going to do it for today. Next week we're going to discuss some Sony games that we're looking forward to. There's a couple coming out towards the end of this year. We're going to get into more detail of those next week, but we just felt we're going to go more into the games going in because the news is getting a bit quiet because obviously new generation's coming up, and I think the buzz around this generation, other than the games, is pretty quiet.
I mean, there's always plenty of news, but it's all hate on this developer or hate on that developer or publisher.
I don't want to sit on here and spout negativity. As you know, I put out, if you check the channel, there is a news video with the face cam up now, which is about Sony purchasing games. And I'll do the same for Microsoft and Nintendo, if anything like that. I'm not going to report on, anything that's just negative. I don't need that in my life. And to be honest, it's just like, you don't need to do that. No one needs to know that. Yeah, I know it's easy, it's good, it's drama, and it's good to clicks, but it doesn't really add anything to the conversation in reality. It's not helping anything.
Because a corporation's a corporation.
A corporation's a corporation. They're there to make money.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, whether you support them or not, they're still going to make billions a year. You know, we look at FIFA, we want changes to FIFA. FIFA still grossed 24 million or whatever it was, copies sold or whatever it was. It was just ridiculous, FIFA 18. So regardless of what you think of Ultimate Team and the ticket, the prices in that, FIFA sells. You know, it's that small vocal minority that shout the loudest.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, for these sorts of situations, when there are things that need justification and need singling out, then we will do it. Loot boxes, I'm not a fan of.
100%
and corporate greed, we're definitely not a fan of.
No.
But things like that, you know.
I'll tell you what got my back up with certain publishers is when they come out and announce record profits, and then go and sack a certain percentage of their there's just and then they complain that there's a whole negativity in their workforce. What do they think's going to happen?
Yeah,
I think
we spoke about EA last week on the last week's podcast. Their reputation does need a bit of a little bit of a clean up. And I thought we had some good points in that particular podcast with what we do with the franchise in there and what franchise we would bring back. And it's a similar thing here. Microsoft, going on to Microsoft quick with their reputation at the start of this generation.
A game I thought of with Microsoft the other day they could bring back.
Go on.
It'd just be a great little fun racer.
Go on.
Midtown Madness. Do you remember that?
I do remember Midtown Madness, but I do believe, if I remember right, wasn't it Midway who owned that?
I'm not sure, but it was published under Microsoft.
I think the developer was Midway. They just published it.
But I'm sure they could get the rights.
Maybe, but they don't really need a racer. They got Forza. They can just go differently with Forza.
I know it's arcadey, but it's still very much a simulated race game. Whereas Midtown Racer...
Yeah, definitely. No, maybe.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, but
it's
Microsoft...
that outrun kind of game that we're just missing now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just before we wrap up, it's similar to Microsoft. We spoke about Halo today and how important it is to get the message across this gen. And I believe Phil Spencer, they'll get that right. They can be a little bit cringy, but what company can't? I mean, have you ever watched a Nintendo Direct? It's as cringy can be. So they're all guilty of being a cringe fest sometimes. I think Sony have, again, not to be too fanboyish, but it's the truth. They get on there, their suits are on there for less than 5 minutes, they walk off stage, here's your videos. They spend very less, and it's not as cringy.
The Sony ones, they don't even have suits on, do they? It's just a blade system where they flick through the games.
And to be perfectly honest, it's how I think all press conferences should do. This is why I think E3, in a way, it's my favourite show. I do love E3. I don't want it to go away, but you can see it at some point.
It is sliding, isn't it?
It is going, because companies don't want to spend millions on showing games when they can get YouTubers and the internet to do it for them for half the price. Nintendo Directs are fantastic. And I think this is where Microsoft, going into Microsoft just a little bit before we wrap up, they can get their message right this gen to the gamers, that this is our message. Here's your Halo Infinite. Get excited. They're going to have something else. They're going to have some third-party deals. They're both going to have Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are all going to have third-party deals on their games. What they will be, who knows? But it's a chance for Microsoft, as we said on our E3 podcast, to get the message right this time with Halo, especially Halo, because I don't think Halo 5 was particularly well received with fans of Halo. I know fans that just didn't like it. They felt, in the direction they're going. So, again...
well, it's like you said with the split from Bungie.
Yeah, but
caused a lot of apprehension, didn't it, with Halo fans? And
it did. There was still some leftover developers from Bungie, though, that created 343. So it wasn't as though it was a completely new team.
No.
I just think sometimes you try too hard in that regard. I thought Reach was a good first attempt. I thought, after playing Halo Reach, I thought, this is a good first attempt by 343. I'm quite impressed here. Halo 4 was okay, and Halo 5 was okay. They can't, for your stellar game, your flagship character, your mascot, cannot be okay.
Yeah,
it has to
have to be amazing,
echelon. It has to be the upper incredible. Here's our game. This is it. And so I think that get the message right this year. And I think so far all three games we spoke about, they're hitting me perfectly where I want them to be with it. For the little we've seen of Halo, looks amazing. Cannot wait. Going to buy it day one. 8 Worlds, cannot wait. Going to buy it day one. Call of Duty, wasn't really interested to begin with because I thought,
I wasn't.
But now I know it's going to be this.
Yeah, it looks really good.
New engine, the writers from Naughty Dog.
Yeah,
I'm in big time. So there it is, guys. That's podcast episode 4 wrapped. Hope you enjoyed listening today, and we'll see you guys. Oh, and before I go, just a quick message. Please hit that subscribe button if you like what you listen to, guys. It really helps us out a lot, and gets the channel better off within the searches and stuff. It helps me as well. So yeah, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to comment, guys. And we'll see you next week.
See you later.
Cheers.